Hello everyone, my name is John James, and I am the storyteller. I'm going to tell you a story, and I hope you enjoy it. Without further ado, let's begin. Interior, college dorm. Luke Piper, 20s, blonde, green eyes, Caucasian, lean built, relaxed, but courageous, is in his dorm room reading a book. Luke Piper, voiceover, future version of Luke. My name is Luke Piper, and this is a story of how I survived the apocalypse and led humanity toward the future. It all started with a phone call. Luke's phone starts to ring. Luke picks it up to see that Mark Lewis, 20s, shoulder-length blonde hair, Caucasian, surfer dude type, skinny build, is calling. Luke answers. Luke, hey, what's up, Mark? Mark, yo, I have some people over. Come over, dude. Luke looks at his book. Luke, I am busy. Mark, bitch, no you ain't. Come over. Luke, fine. I'll be over in a few. Mark, cool. See you soon, dude. Luke hangs up the phone and starts to get ready to go. Exterior, college campus. Luke walks across the campus saying hi to local students passing by. Exterior, neighborhood. Luke is walking by houses until he stops at Mark's house. Mark's car is parked in his driveway. Luke walks up to the door and rings the doorbell. A few seconds later, Mark opens the door. Mark, hurry man, the craziest thing is on the TV right now. Interior, Mark's house. Surprised, Luke follows Mark, who quickly walks back to the TV. Multiple people are there watching the TV. On the TV, there are meteors hitting the earth. The reporter, horrified, 40s, is watching everything. Reporter, oh my god, meteors are hitting the earth, and a meteor hits where the reporter is, and he and the cameraman get flung back. The camera is lying on the ground, focused on the meteor. The meteor cracks open. A gray, skinny, grotesque creature comes out. Its eyes and mouth are nothing but holes with neon blue ooze seeping out. The creature begins to screech loudly. Reporter, what the hell is that thing? The creature then begins to vomit lava. It looks in the reporter's direction and starts quickly creeping its way toward him till the creature grabs him. The reporter is speechless as their microphone picks up his whimpering. The creature then vomits lava all over the reporter. His deathly scream is heard. Then more and more gray creature starts pouring out of the meteor. One of the gray creature's hands grew into claws, and another shot lasers from its eyes. The TV then goes to two newsmen, 30s, at their news desk, looking shocked at what they were seeing. Both try to say something, but are speechless. Then screams, as well as banging on a door, is heard in the background. The camera pans to behind the scenes to see everyone on set running as twin doors barge open to let more gray creatures into the room. One of the gray creatures grabs someone and vomits acid over them. Then the broadcast stops, with technical difficulties showing up on screen. Mark, holy shit, that was completely crazy. Everyone else in the room is talking about it to each other. Luke, what the hell were those things? A crashing sound is heard, and Luke's eyes widen as he begins to turn pale. Mark is just as pale. Everyone runs outside to see what is happening. Exterior, neighborhood. Meteors are looming over the skies as meteors start to crash around the neighborhood. Those at Mark's house are running away scared. Then a meteor crashes onto the street that Mark's house is on. It begins to crack open as a sheet of ice slowly encapsulated. Mark, Luke, get in the car now. Without thinking, Luke quickly runs toward Mark's car and opens the shotgun door and gets in. Mark gets into the driver's side of the car and starts it up. Mark pulls out of the driveway. Luke looks behind to see the creature coming toward them. Luke, drive! Drive! Mark slams on the pedal. The sound of the engine is heard. Just as the car starts to move forward, a loud thud is heard on the roof of the car. Mark and Luke look at each other wide-eyed. Then a pick made of ice pierces the roof of the car. Luke, weapons, Mark! Luke, Mark, clubs. I have some golf clubs in my back seat. Luke looks for the clubs, but doesn't find any. Another ice pick breaks the roof. Luke finds an umbrella and grabs it. Luke, they're not here, but we have this. Mark, damn it! I must have left them in the trunk. Then a sheet of ice covers the windshield and breaks it in a million pieces. The creature jumps onto the hood and grabs Luke. Mark stops the car quickly, sending both the creature and Luke onto the street. Luke tumbles on the street, getting cuts along the way. He winces in pain, and then quickly looks around for the creature. He holds the umbrella like it's a double-handed sword. Luke spots the creature as it runs toward him. He swings the umbrella, smacking the creature in the face, but it's quick to recover and jumps on Luke, pinning him to the ground. Luke looks deep into the holes where the eyes should be. Some of the neon blue ooze drips onto Luke. The creature then creates an ice pick from its hand as it begins to screech. Just as it is about to stab Luke, Mark swings his golf club right at the creature's face. It falls to the ground. Mark quickly grabs Luke's arm to get him up, and they both get back to the car. By the time the creature gets up, both Mark and Luke are gone. Luke, we did it. Now what? Mark, now we run and pray they don't find us. Luke Piper, voiceover, future version. We had nowhere left to go, so we drove till we found the most rural of areas. We found an old barn and decided to make it our new home. We found a bucket full of seeds, and we studied how to farm our own food. We had the internet for a week before it suddenly became void, but by then we learned everything we needed. The barn had a huge bug problem, and that was what we ate before the food we farmed became edible. It was harsh living, but we survived. It wasn't until 3 years later that we would have our first visitors. Shots of them finding the barn, researching on their smartphones, using the car for battery life. More shots of them planting the seeds, eyeing each other nervously as they eat a bug for the first time, and finally, shots of them farming in the excitement of steeping their labor. Exterior, rural area, late evening. A lone van is blazing through the road. 3 years later is written on the bottom of the screen. Inside the van, the driver, his name is Leo Fitz, 40s, bald, African. His left arm is made of metal, yet it moves and acts like a regular arm. Very serious-natured and easily annoyed. Is driving, a tad bored. In the shotgun seat is Mira Gold, 30s, brunette hair. Part of her face is metal, and her left eye is replaced with a red techno eye. Spunky, a bit prideful, and is holding a map trying to figure out where to go. In the back, which has no seats, is 2 people sitting on opposite sides of the van facing each other. On the left side is Lewis Reed, 30s, black hair, brown eyes, tan skin, the laid-back jokester, and on the right side is Mary Winehurst, mid-20s, brunette, blue eyes, skinny built. Both of her arms are made of metal, an extrovert one moment, an introvert the next. Lewis, hey Mira, how much longer till we are in safe haven? Mira looks at the map. With a red metal eye, she is able to see the exact time it takes. Mira, we should be there in a day and a half. Lewis, damn, I thought it would only be a day by now. Why on earth did Safe Haven make us go on a mission that was so damn far? Leo, angry. Because, Lewis, there were sightings of a narwhal with red eyes instead of blue. Lewis, and we ended up not finding anything, did we? Looks like this whole trip was for zilch. Mira, can it, Lewis? We're on the losing team, remember? We tend to fail quite often. Lewis, well, is there a place we can stop and rest? I'd rather not be fighting narwhals at night. Mira, there's a barn right there, Mira said, pointing to a barn. Mira, we can rest up there for the night. Lewis, all right, it's about time. Mira, Leo? Leo, sighs. It's a good idea. Besides, I think I've reached my limit of driving today. Interior, barn. Mark, whose hair has gotten longer, is sitting on a pile of hay, while Luke, whose hair is just as long, is sitting on the opposite side of the pile. Both are looking up at the sky, which is seen through a hole in the barn's roof. Luke, hey Mark. Mark, what's up, Luke? Luke, you think those monsters finally disappeared from this world? Mark, I hope so. Not like it matters. The car's battery died out years ago. Luke, true. Have you ever thought what happened to society afterward? Mark, oh, I'm sure they found a way to bring things back to normal. Luke, maybe they found a way to use those creatures for a beneficial reason. Mark, what beneficial reason is it? The sound of a car was heard. Luke, we have a visitor. Luke and Mark both get up and run toward the entrance to the barn. They peek their heads out so they can watch the vehicle. The van gets off the road and starts driving towards the barn. Mark, weapons? Luke, the golf clubs. Mark, be right back. Mark sneakily runs toward his car and gets 2 clubs. Meanwhile, Luke watches as Lewis and Mary open up the back door to get outside. Both do long stretches. Leo gets out next, stretching his back. Mira folds up the map and gets out. Mark returns to where Luke is. Mark hands Luke a golf club. Luke, do we attack first, or should we try talking to them first? Mark, that's a good question. What's up with that guy's arm? And that girl's face? And that other girl's arms? Luke, I don't know. You remember Cyborg from DC Comics? Mark, yeah, it kind of reminds me of that too. I just wish Justice League was a better movie. Luke, me too. That movie had so much potential. Mira, hey, you two farmers. Do you guys mind if we stay the night? Luke and Mark both blushed, realizing their conversation was louder than they thought, and then stared at each other nervous, both holding the clubs as if they were swords, walked closer to the group. Luke, we don't want any trouble. Mira, look, we just want to stay the night, and then we will be out of your hair forever. Mark and Luke look at each other, as if they were speaking to each other without words. After several unusual faces toward each other, they both nod in agreement. Luke, you guys can stay the night. Mira, that's great. Do you guys have names? Mark, Luke, yours? Mira, my name is Mira. Lewis, the name's Lewis. Mary, Leo, you can call me Leo. Luke, well, make yourselves at home, I guess. Mark, what's up with your guys' arms and face? Luke, Mark, oh come on Luke, you were thinking it too. Leo, you two really don't know, do you? Both nod left to right. Luke, ever since those creatures came, we've been living here. Mark, are those creatures still alive? Leo, yes, they are. They're called narcles. Once we get situated, I can tell you boys what happened after you left the grid to stay here. Luke Piper, voiceover, future version. This was Mark and I's first time getting a glimpse of what happened to the world, and needless to say, it already terrified us. The guns they carried looked like they were from a sci-fi movie. How their entire crew looked like they were from a sci-fi movie. We helped them the best they could, and in return said they would share some of the food that they brought with them. When they finally settled, Mark and I created a campfire with enough seats for everyone so we could sit down and talk. Both Mark and I were eyeing Mary, hoping we could sit next to her, but sadly, neither of us got our wish. Shots of Luke and Mark helping the group bring the guns in. Both looked shocked at the guns. Shot of Mark and Luke trying to talk to Mary while elbowing each other. Mary giggles and walks away. Shots of Mark and Luke setting up the campfire while the group cleans up their guns and metallic parts. Exterior, barn, night. The campfire burns bright throughout the night. Everyone is sitting down on a log, eating a sandwich. Both Mark and Luke eat the sandwich like it's a 5-star meal. Leo, so you boys ready to hear what has happened to the world after the invasion? Both Luke and Mark nod. And that is where I'm ending it today, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I look forward to telling you guys the next part of the story next week. Thank you again.